So let's talk about a novel called N27. Now, this isn't just another sci-fi story. Think of it more like a diagnostic tool, a really fascinating thought experiment that uses a total outsider's perspective to hold up a mirror to our world. And the reason you should read it? Well, it might just change the way you see, well, everything.
Right out of the gate, the book hits you with this bombshell of a thesis. I mean, just imagine an observer concluding this about us, that we're not a species of thinkers, but a species of storytellers. And get this, it's not even a choice. It's hardwired into us. This single provocative idea is the engine for the entire novel. Our narrator gives this phenomenon a name, the deviation. Think of it like a cognitive reflex that happens before we're even aware of it. We don't see something happen and then decide what it means. Nope. Our minds instantly generate a story about it, and that story is our reality. And here's the truly mind-bending part. If we don't even know we're doing it, how could we ever possibly stop?
So, what does it actually mean to be a species that's wired for narrative above pretty much anything else? To find out, the novel gives us the perfect guide. And that guide is our narrator. She's an alien observer who gives us this incredibly clinical, outside perspective we desperately need to see ourselves clearly.
So who is she? Well, she's not here to interfere, not at all. Her mission was supposed to be simple: observe, record, and get out. But of course, something goes wrong. A critical part of her ship's energy system just fails, and she's stranded. To fix it, she needs a very specific synthetic polymer that, wouldn't you know it, is only made in one place on this entire planet, the United States. The setup is brilliant because she's forced into close contact with us, not out of curiosity, but because of a simple material need. And honestly, this is a huge reason to read the book. Her voice is unlike anything you've probably ever read. She's not angry or judgmental or sentimental. She looks at human behavior the way a biologist looks at an ecosystem, or a machinist looks at a piece of steel. She's just trying to figure out the properties of the species she's stuck with, and that detached, precise view is just so incredibly revealing. Okay, so let's see how this all plays out. Through sheer bad luck, our narrator lands right in the middle of a nation that's on the brink of collapse, which, it turns out, is the perfect laboratory for watching the deviation in real time. One of her first major findings is just staggering. She analyzes our global broadcast spectrum, all of it, TV, radio, the internet, and she discovers that an estimated 87% of the total energy we're putting out there is dedicated to what she calls narrative content. Stories, entertainment, ads, news that tells you what to think. 87%. Just let that sink in for a second. This is the profound conclusion she comes to. We have built the most powerful communication network in the history of our planet, and we use it overwhelmingly to just saturate ourselves with stories. It suggests that our information systems aren't really for facts. They're for reinforcing narratives. And you can see this so clearly as she watches this huge impeachment crisis unfold. The book introduces us to all these different people, and each one is a perfect example of someone living inside their own story. You've got Calloway, the senator, who sees it all as just procedure. Then there's Cross, the broadcaster, who's telling millions that it's a coup. Jenner, a regular citizen, feels it as a deep, personal betrayal. And for Roe, the militiaman, it's literally a call to arms. They're all witnessing the exact same events, but they're living in completely different, totally incompatible realities. But the book is way more nuanced than just that. It also shows us these little glimpses of what it's like to operate outside of this narrative-generating machine. What does it look like to escape the deviation? The narrator describes it through her own experience. At one point, she's building this simple little rack to dry some plant samples, and she has this realization. She's not telling herself a story about what she's doing. There's no internal monologue about the meaning or the drama of the task. The doing and the experiencing are the same thing. And she realizes that for us humans, that state of unnarrated experience is incredibly rare. And this comparison just lays the contrast out so clearly. Well, all the human characters are totally wrapped up in these big, abstract, high-stakes stories: impeachment, coup, treason. The narrator's world is grounded in material facts: soil temperature, the grain direction in a piece of wood, thermal conductivity. She solves her problems by responding to physical reality, not by telling herself a story about it. And, she does find a few rare humans who operate this way too. People like Tomas, a machinist who figures out what's wrong with her garden not by theorizing, but by literally feeling the heat in the clay with his hands. Or Lena, a scientist who assesses the terrain for what it is, not for the stories people tell about it. These characters are so important because they show it is possible to connect with reality directly. They're the exceptions that prove the rule. Okay, so let's bring this all home. Why does this fictional story, this thought experiment, actually matter to us, right here and right now? This, right here, is why you should read this book. It's such a powerful tool. The narrator's non-human perspective gives us a vocabulary, a new framework to look at our own minds, our own media, our own society with a brand new kind of clarity. It basically helps you see the water we're all swimming in. At the end of the day, the novel really forces you to wrestle with the question that feels more relevant today than maybe ever before. Are we actually responding to reality, or are we just stuck in a feedback loop, responding only to the stories we've already built? The book doesn't hand you an easy answer, but it makes that question absolutely impossible to ignore. And that brings us to the final, really provocative takeaway. The novel turns that lens right back on you, the reader. It asks you to look at your own perceptions, your own certainties. As you go about your day, scrolling through your feed, talking with your friends, what story are you telling yourself? And is it possible to see what's really there before the story even begins?